Hey guys, welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds, by nerds. I'm Ted, and today I'm hanging out with
Nerdarchy's Ryan.
And today we talk about the pros and cons of rolling behind the screen. Jump down the description below where you can sign up for Nerdarchy, the newsletter. It's a great way to get gaming tips as well as learn how to game with Nerdarchy.
So this is the thing that's kind of just sometimes comes up in the comments, or sometimes we get an email about related to when or why you should roll out in the open in front of your players. And we've done some past videos discussing it, but I think there's a different take we can have on it.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of pros and cons to either rolling in front or rolling behind. I got an email where somebody was asking about rolling initiative, and his players know what the initiative order is, and they jockey for position so that this person can get this benefit or that person can get that benefit. I personally don't care if, like, okay, you guys know that these three people are going before the monster, and it's more advantageous to wait for player 3 to go before player 1 and 2. That doesn't matter. Combat's not that important to me.
But I mean, one thing you could do is you could let the players know their initiative, and then they don't know where the monster falls until the monster is acted.
Right.
So this way it could kind of put this question mark. But I think what people are going after with having things be secret from the players versus having things known. So you have one that leans more towards the game of having everything known for expediency's sake, and the other thing is going for an element of verisimilitude. There you go. Where you're trying to give the appearance of real life and narrative action of, getting that idea of like an action movie happening.
Absolutely.
So I had one dungeon master who he would use like these kind of like hang tags on the front of his DM screen. And so the players would know when they'd act, but I think he would hold placing the monsters until
after they went.
Right. So when the monsters are going, then you would put their hang tag there. But now you had a visual cue how the flow of combat was going, which is helpful because then people know to get ready for their turn and this and that. So I think that's a nice compromise between having a sort of narrative leaning gaming experience versus having a more gaming experience that's expeditious.
So when you roll out in front of everyone else, whether you're a player or whether you're the DM, that shows complete and utter trust. You are saying, okay, look, I'm not fudging anything. I'm not trying to be shady in any way, shape, or form, especially as the DM. Like, okay, you're making saving throws. Well, I can roll dice back here. Ka-ching, ka-ching. All right, I passed. Well, the players have no idea whether or not you rolled a 7 or a 17 on that D20. And there's some DMs who they want to keep their monster alive. And back in the day, I was totally on board with, I want my monster to be a challenge. I want it to survive as long as possible. I can tell you, I've added hit points, I've fudged die rolls, and I thought that this was making the game better. And in no way, shape, or form does it.
Well, okay, I can take this on both sides of things. Like, on the one hand, where do you want the tension of the dice roll? Do you want the tension being the unknown of what happens with the dice, or do you want the tension of, my dungeon master is fucking fair, and whatever those dice say, even if it's going to kill my character outright, I'm seeing it right out in front of me, right? So the tension is either like literally seeing the results, or the tension is the unknown. So like that's from just the story side of like even. And like maybe I think it's not the worst thing in the world to maybe give your monster an extra round or two if you wanted it to have that impact. It doesn't matter one way or another. It's fine. Just never let your players know.
Right. Oh yes. I definitely agree there. But like I've had conversations with many different gamers and gaming groups about that particular situation, and I've been told, there's no story. Like, no one remembers, like, oh, well, this combat lasted, 5 rounds instead of the 3 it should have. Oh man, that was this. Like, the stories that are told are, holy crap, we killed that thing in 1 round, or holy crap, the DM failed that saving throw, and the fight that should have been hard wasn't at all.
Well, I would actually counter that to the point where, like, if if you're getting pretty close to like pushing your players on the resources, like it actually can make it even more clutch that they felled that monster one round later, because if one or two people dropped and you know that this monster is going down next round, like I think that it actually puts it like, man, we just got out of this thing by the skin of our teeth. So again, like as a dungeon master, like you take that shit to your grave that you did that, but it creates that next level of tension of like, oh shit, there were two players left, two player characters, and they were screwed up. If they didn't drop this monster, everyone would be dead. Like, that creates a dramatic moment, and I think there's story in that and stories to be told from that, really.
I haven't been on that side of it. It's always been the other way. But when you roll your attack rolls out in front of everybody, you have the ability to see what's going on. Yeah, if you roll behind there's tension, you have the ability to either turn that crit into a regular, turn that fudge into a hit, or turn that fail into a hit. You can do whatever you need to do, and whatever DMing style best fits you.
Yeah, we're not here to make that judgment call of you're playing it wrong if you're doing a certain thing. Like, I don't know. I think it's okay to keep a monster around a little bit longer, but I'm probably not going to have them succeed at a saving throw.
Right.
So yeah.
But so by making those choices, you determine the style of game that you're going to run. There's been a number of times where, like at early levels, oh well, that orc hits that wizard with a great axe. Oh crap, that was a crit. That wizard's gonna die. Like not oh, he's getting dropped. It's gonna die.
Outright, yeah.
The damage that can be rolled to low level characters is enough to straight up kill people during crits. Now, as you get further in and the hit point buffer gets bigger and bigger, well, then it becomes harder and harder to actually get those kind of things.
Or you actually have access to like magic that will bring you up if you cast it within the next minute and after combat.
Right. Once you get to 5th level in 5th edition, you've got the ability to revivify as a cleric if you're playing with those type of characters. So, yeah, this edition has made it a lot easier to bring people back. But until you hit to that threshold, or until you get that character to have a 300 gold piece diamond, waiting to resurrect somebody. Okay, well, if you don't got that, it doesn't matter whether you got the spell and the spell slot.
Yeah. So that's one thing. And then there's the other aspect of player resources that doing rolls out in the open as the dungeon master, the players now have the choice to react to those dice rolls, and say the sorcerer ability to bend luck, the wild magic sorcerer. Now, by raw, we modified it a bit, but by raw, it's
just a die.
It's a D4. Now, basically, you can look at that die and know that if it's within rolling a 1 or a 2 on the D4, whether it's going to do anything, and then you decide whether this expend the resource of your sorcery points. Now, if the dungeon master made all their rolls hidden, the sorcerer would have absolutely no means to know when to trigger this infrequent ability. Like it would get so infrequently used because you never know when to use it, whereas you see the open dice and it's a particularly it's a whole nother beast. And the same thing said with like the luck feat. Like if the GM is rolling open, he's like, okay, I know that
rolled that one.
Yeah, most decidedly hit. Let's have that not hit, for instance.
And the other side of that same coin is displaying of armor class. So this is going beyond the actual rolling of the dice, but what actual armor classes people have. Like, if you as a DM, if you jot your player's AC down, you won't need to ask, does this hit? So I don't do that. I just reach out to my players. Okay, you got hit with this, and this. Well, that gives them the players exactly how many points difference between AC and a total attack. So that's when they be like, oh well, all right, I'll just shield and blocks them all. Done. Yeah. Whereas if I be like, oh, you were hit 3 times, it doesn't tell them the numbers. Well, 2 of them could have been a natural 20. They might still expend that spell slot of a shield, and they still would get hit.
And still not block the natural 20. Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
So it becomes a how do you want to do this, and what is easiest for you.
Now, it's funny, too, like, again, like, arguing of the pro and con things. Like, so a natural 20, like, that's absolutely a time that you want to use, like, say, a lucky feat and then, like, re-roll it and they take the worst die as far as that goes. And if that was rolled hidden, the player with the lucky feat wouldn't know. But from a narrative standpoint, right, like, wouldn't it be kind of cool if the wizard went to throw up that shield spell that they thought, you know, turns 99% of the time it turns blows away? Well, this is the 1% that it slices clean through the shield spell and into the wizard. Like, if a wizard, like, if you're playing with dice open and the wizard ever wasted the first level spell to do that just because it would be an interesting moment, I would absolutely give inspiration.
Oh, absolutely.
But that being said, like, if you're playing with roles known and open, that's never going to happen because no wizard player in their right mind is going to do that unless they want just a cool narrative moment at the table.
Right. So what do you guys think? How are you using this situation? Are you rolling in front of the screen? Are you rolling behind the screen? What do you think are the pros and cons? What did we miss? What did we leave out? It's a great there's a great spot to do that, and that's in the comments down below. While you're down there, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
You can follow us over on Instagram.
So until next time,
Stay nerdy.